What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I went to see one that I was very much looking forward to. I had my free large pop and free large popcorn for my birthday this month, as AMC always hooks me up, and I went in to watch a limited release, kind of almost like an indie one, that I really was intrigued by based on the mysterious nature of the trailer. I've been told to avoid the trailer, so that might even do you better to go and see this one. But I'm talking about 2024's official release, Strange Darling. This one hit festivals in 2023, so that's the official release date. But as far as US release in theaters, limited release 2024. Strange Darling, and this movie is written and directed by J.T. Mulner, who I don't know much about. I saw 3 or 4 other feature films after a series of shorts, so I don't know much about their work. But this one is starring Willa Fitzgerald, who you guys know from the Scream TV series. The first 2 really good seasons they had, she was the main character, Emma Duval. She was the cheerleading coach in I think it's called Dare Me. It was on USA and then Netflix later, like a thriller cheerleading series. So she's got some roots in horror. Also starring Kyle Gallner as Kyle, you guys know from the Smile movie, Scream 5, and several things like that. So both of these main actors have a lot of roots in the horror genre. Willa Fitzgerald plays the lady, Kyle Gallner plays the demon, and basically, again, this is a spoiler-free review. It just came out in theaters like last week, so no spoilers here. I will try and talk about it without spoiling anything, and basically, it's hard not to give things away here, but these 2 characters would basically pick up with them having a rough time, just having finished a first date / hookup situation. It is 2 characters parked outside of a motel, getting ready to get to know each other just well enough to hook up with each other and have sex on a random binge night after a bar. And that is kind of all I can say without giving away plot points. I like to usually articulate and kind of compare these current movies to other movies they kind of feel like, and I can't even do much of that this time because it would give away what this movie winds up being. The comparisons that I could give that don't give any spoilers away, I would say there's elements of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this. There are elements of like Bonnie and Clyde or Thelma and Louise in this movie. There's some 50 Shades of Grey going on in this movie. So those things alone should let you know there's going to be some sexuality, some arguments, a lot of dialogue back and forth, a lot of tension. That is what this thing shines on. Again, we're picking up with them right after they pick each other up at the bar, and we're seeing them get ready for a sexual encounter. And of course, all hell breaks loose. We know right away from the first frame of this movie that they come in kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-like, talking about statistics of serial killers and victims and revenge and things like that. So you get an overlay on the screen with a narrator reading to us some stats about serial killers, so you know you're going to be in for a wild ride. And from then on, we get a combative movie that has a lot of chemistry, a lot of tension, a lot of chase scenes, and eventually a lot of blood. That's about all I can say there. Looking at positives first. Number 1, nonlinear storytelling. This is a love / survival story that is told in 6 chapters, and we start off not in the first chapter. We're going to bounce around a lot from chapter 4, then I think it's 2, then I think it's 5, then I think it's 1, something like that. And right away I started to get irritated because I went, there better be a method to their madness here. I am all for nonlinear storytelling as long as there's a reason for it, and eventually there is. We don't see that reason at first. Essentially that reason is to kind of hide the twist that to me is very obvious. I pointed and picked this out from the first couple frames. I knew right away what the twist was. That being said, the twist was executed pretty well. Although it is obvious to most, and a lot of you guys will get it, it is a pretty well done twist, and you did then see the storytelling perspective change because of doing the nonlinear storytelling. And when they fade from one scene into another, they do indicate which one you're in, and they do kind of do lead-ins where you see the end of the last scene heading into the next chapter. So they do tell that story in a pretty solid way considering it's nonlinear, so I give them a positive for that. I also have my next positive note. Wounds feel real. Big props to the special effects department, as not only do all of these wounds, all of the moments of blood and stabbing and things like that, not only do they feel really real because they look real on screen and the wounds are well detailed and everything looks really gory when they decide to use gore, but I feel like the audience feels every abrasion, every wound on screen. It gives you something. There's one thing to be able to show good gore on screen, but to be able to make the audience feel it. It was something about the quietness before those moments. There was something about the sound effects that went with, like the stabbing and the carving and things like that. And then being able to show us the wounds up close so they look real, but they also feel like we're incurring some of that wound ourselves. It gives you an extra connection to the characters and makes you want them to survive the story. So that's a big positive. Also, big characters. There are like 5 or 6 characters in this, but we're really surrounding ourselves with the Lady and the Demon here. Most of all, Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner are the 2 main characters in this, and some of the side characters are really good too. In particular, I like the mountain couple that we see in the film later on. But Willa and Kyle, obviously, again, they've been acting for a long time. They have roots in horror. They are very good. The Lady and the Demon steal the show here, not just in their own acting and the ability to make the audience let them feel their pain and see their pain on their faces, which again goes into why the abrasions are really good in this movie, because you see how worn down they become and you see them have to sell and have to show the audience how physically tired and in pain they are. And all those things feel very real because of how good they are as actors, but also their chemistry together. They're both kind of offbeat characters. They're big, they're wild, they're offbeat. They march to the beat of their own drummers, but they do so together pretty well. To where, at a certain point in this movie, I had predicted another twist on top of the one we already got, which didn't come true. But because the characters work so well together in such a weird way, they've got these eccentricities in the 2 characters that you go, oh, okay, like they're both kind of weird and offbeat, but I can see why they fell for each other. I can see why they're the love interest together in this story, because they don't just fit together as good actors. Their weirdness sees the other person's weirdness, and their kinks see the other person's kinks, and that's what makes the tension and the fear and the sexuality and the eroticness and all of those things come together. So those are big positives. Another one that piggybacks off that is solid tension. Whenever we're waiting for things like certain dialogue, certain twists, certain reveals by going back and forth in time, even just certain moments, whether they're positive or negative, you are waiting for the characters' reactions to them because there's tension the entire time. It's not like jump out of your seat tension, but when the camera decides to hold or whenever a character is waiting to deliver dialogue, those natural pauses give really good tension. So I like that a lot. And also lighting. We see a lot of, in particular, flashes on the screen, which go toward the editing, which are a character situation that happens later. We also see a lot of red lighting, in particular, which accentuates some moments of fear and survival. We see a lot of the blue lighting, which is the lighting outside the hotel room, which shows us the earlier stages of their relationship, and the blue lighting really fits and suits them well. We see some good lighting as the camera does a lot of like long hold shots or a lot of tracking shots, because the camera tends to move a lot in this. The director really knew, as well as the DP, really knew when to hold on shots, when to track long shots, and when to cut away quickly. So I like the technical aspects of this film. Now on to a couple brief negatives here. Repetitive beats. The movie only runs an hour and 36. You get about an hour and a half, hour and 32 plus credits. Does not overstay its welcome. It's pretty well paced for the most part. Even on the time jumps, I do like that. But because we are in a mostly one location, I would say for about over half the film we're in one location. The second half we're in another location. So we're in these really intimate, secluded places when we're not in between those places, if that makes any sense. We get some open field shots, some running around in the open field, but every time we're in a location, we are in a one location remote place for a lot of the movie, and for over half of it, it's only these 2 main characters together, and with that, we get a lot of the same things. We know they're kind of just there to party. They kind of become one-note characters. They talk about their relationship kinks. They talk about their party behaviors. They talk about the things they want to get into in terms of danger with their parties. But you don't really get a lot of them outside of that. You just kind of see them go, okay, we're into a kink, we're out of a kink. We're into a kink, we're out of a kink. We're into a party, we're out of a party. We like each other, we don't like each other. It's a lot of the same toxicities and one-note kind of party characters that you would see in slasher films, except these two have a little bit better acting and a little more layers to them than just slasher victims in a standard 80s slasher. But you do kind of just get those same beats over and over again. My other big negative goes along with this one. We don't know the characters that well. And I get the mystery is part of the story. While one of the reveals is a mystery, one of the reasons for the mystery comes back later. So you don't get a lot of mystery or you do get a lot of mystery in these characters. You don't get a chance to know them beyond surface level, which again, if you're going to spend the whole movie with them and half the movie with only them, you do kind of want to, you have plenty of moments to bring out little small nuances that you can then make the audience watch back later to rewatch the movie and give it replayability to go, oh, they gave us this little Easter egg here. I should have seen that coming later on. They're trying to hide the characters for twists and for things later, but they're not giving us enough morsels to nibble on until we get to the later chapters in the relationship. So I think for being a movie that relies on small dynamics and small places and small cast numbers, I think you want to give a little bit more while still keeping the mystery and still keeping the ability to do the twists. You need to give the audience a little more to their characters. But again, this is a pretty short movie. There's some elements of documentary style to it. There's some good chemistry in the characters. The entire thing is shot on 35mm, which I appreciate and respect, and it really suits the drama / docudrama / follow series that we're getting in this movie. It is able to amalgamate genres and do some pretty good things with the characters we get. All the characters on screen matter. The main characters have really good eccentricities and good acting, and there are good technical aspects to this film, especially, again, considering the lighting and everything with the camera and the 35mm shooting. So, all in all, way more good than bad. It is a little bit flat at times to me. It doesn't unveil or unflesh enough, but yet the characters we do get and the moments we do get are nice. So I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10, almost leaning toward a 7, but not quite. I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely better than average, definitely psychological and fun, definitely an easy watch with some nice moments. I would recommend going to check it out in theaters. It is getting a limited release, and it is a smaller kind of film company versus some of the bigger ones, so I would recommend going to see this in theaters. What do you guys think if you've seen it? Tell me in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to these deep dive videos if you want more theater releases from this year on this channel. Please tell me what I should watch and review, especially with October coming up. Stay scared, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.